Hi friends, welcome back. This is Manish Pandey. Today we are going to learn about a state machine in UiPath. We'll learn about all the activity of a state machine like state, final state, and we will see how to create state machine, how to use all this like activity, state, final state, transition, entry section, trigger, condition, whatever will be there in a state machine. We will learn today. We'll also take a few examples of simple state machine with single transition and a state machine with multiple transitions, one or more than one state activity. I am going to make this topic very easy to understand, easy to learn for you guys. UiPath State Machine. State machine is a type of workflow. It provides a modeling style with which you can model your workflow in an event driven manner. It goes into a state when it is triggered by an activity and it exits that state when another activity is triggered. It means this state machine is one type of workflow. You have already read about the type of workflow like sequence, flowchart, and now this is the state machine. This is also one type of workflow. So it provides a modeling style same as flowchart, but here we'll get something different. So it provides a modeling style with which you can model your workflow in a event driven manner. It goes into a state when it is triggered by an activity. It goes from one state to another state based on the trigger, based on the condition like transition, and it exits that state when another activity is triggered. A state machine workflow must have one and only one initial state. So whenever we are going to create a state machine workflow, then in that workflow we should have one initial state, only one. Each state activity must have at least one transition. You can see here in the screenshot we'll have the start state activity, and then these are the transitions like true, false. So this is our condition, and then another state, then final state. Next, how to create a state machine workflow. So I will show you how to create a state machine workflow with two methods. First, when you start a new process, then you must use a state machine activity as a state machine scope to start using a state machine activity. So same as Excel application scope, when you are going to use any Excel related application, any Excel related activity, then you should use Excel application scope so that you can put all this Excel related activity inside that scope. So here same, if you are going to start as a new process, I am not talking about the workflow, I am talking about the process, new process. So whenever you are going to start a new process, then you must use a state machine activity as a state machine scope. Here you can see this is the state machine activity you have to use inside your project. When you create a new file as a state machine, it adds state machine activity automatically. So whenever you are you have already created one process and now you are going to add as a new file as a state machine, then it will add a state machine activity automatically. You will not have to use a state machine from the activity section. So it will show like this. When you go to design, then from the new we get 4 workflow: sequence, flowchart, state machine, and global handler. So here if you click that state machine, then that will be added automatically. So I'm going to show you how to do that and how to create the state machine workflow. So first let me open UiPath Studio so that I can show you a starting. So here I am going to first open UiPath Studio. So let's suppose you have made your mind that you are going to work on state machine. So first time when you will open the UiPath Studio, then it will show like this. You have to take a process. First time when you are going to start with the blank project, then you click on process. You will write here that you are going to work on state machine project, create here. So what will happen when we will create a blank project, then it will just show as a blank area here. You have to drop the activity here. Now you cannot start you cannot put any state machine activity here. Let me show this state. So here we have list of activity inside the state machine workflow. So this is state machine, you can say this is works as a workflow, as a scope. So you have to take this activity, you have to drag and drop here, and then you can from here you are getting a start node, and then you have to put start and all this thing. And if you are not using this, I'm going to show you here. If you are not using this, and if you are directly going to use another activity of a state machine, like starting from the state, then it will not allow you to drop the activity here. If you are going to use the final state, then also it will not allow you to add the activity here. It means you will have to use this state machine activity to use state machine activities, like a state activity and final state activity, like this, right? So here you can drag and drop as many as state machine activities, right? Now you can do that. Second thing, if you are going to take a new workflow, new file as a state machine here, and you are writing this state machine 1 or anything, then it will automatically add this as a state machine type here, and then you can use your activity anywhere. You can put here, you can drag and drop here. So by this way we can create a state machine workflow. Next, the start machine has the start node automatically added like flow chart. You can see here, whenever we create a start machine or whenever we add a start machine workflow activity in our project, then we get this start node automatically added in that one. Let me show you here. First time when I have drag and drop this state machine activity, and then if you click that, then you will get a start machine added here. It means it will same as flow chart. Here also you will get option to connect the node from one to another activity. Now the next thing, state machine activities. Here we'll learn all these activities like state, final state. So first we learn about the state. A state represents a state in which a state machine can be in. A state machine workflow must have one and only one initial state. So this state means this can be put inside the state machine, and here we'll use this state to define our trigger, to define our action. Everything we can put here in the state. So a state machine workflow must have one and only one initial state. How to configure a state as a initial state? So here we'll learn how to configure a state as a initial state. So here you have seen that a state machine workflow must have one and only one initial state. It means we cannot add a state, we cannot add more than one state as a initial state, because you know that initial state will be always one. It means a starting state. To configure a state as an initial state, right click the state and select set as initial state, or initial state can be added by dragging a line from the start node at the top of the workflow to the desired state. Let me show you from the UiPath Studio. Here we have to take this state and we have to drag and drop here. Once it will show this option, then we can drop here and then it will automatically connect this. And now you can see here, now this will be our initial state, and then after that you can use more than one state here. So this will be our initial state, and after that you can use more than one state activity. Or the second way, you have to drag and drop here, and then you have to right click and set as initial state. So it will be automatically added this node here. Or the next is, you can go here, you can mouse hover here, and then you can select this node, you can connect here. So by this way we can configure our state as a initial state. Next, the state activity contains three sections: entry, exit and transition. Here you can see in the screenshot, this state activity has 3 sections. First, entry, second, exit, and third is transition. So I am going to tell you about all these 3 sections. First is entry section. It specifies the action that occurs when this state is transitions to. When a workflow instance enters a state, any activity in the entry action execute. So whenever we will run our project, we'll run our this workflow, then whatever the activity will be there in this entry section, that will be executed. It means this is our first step. Second is exit section. An activity executed when exiting the state. When a transition to another state is confirmed, the activity in the exit action are executed, even if the state transition back to the same state. Whenever we are going to exit this state, or it means this state machine is going to exit the state, then it executes this area, this exit section activities. So whatever activity will be there in the exit section, that will be executed. So when a transition to another state is confirmed, then the activity in the exit action are executed. It means we have used the transition, and if it is showing like yes, it is true, then this exit will be executed. Next is transition section. This will be transition section. So a transition represents the transition between 2 states. So whenever you have seen that I have connected from one state to another state, so this is the transition between 2 states. It displays all the transitions linked to the selected state. So here you will get all this linked, all this transition selected to the state. It is used to add the condition based on which to jump from one state to another. So here, based on the transition, here it shows like if it is true, then it will go to this destination state, and if it is false, then it will go to this state activity. So by this way, here transition means condition. So here we are putting the condition, and based on the condition, if it is true, then it will go to that selected state, and if it is false, then it will go to that state. Next is transition designer. So here you have seen that last one is transition. So whenever we are going to connect our 2 states, like a state or final state also, or multiple state also, then we get that transition, because we can connect our states with transition, and in the transition we get option to write our condition, write our actions. So whenever we click on transition, then we get a list of sections there to write the condition, write the action. So that is called transition designer. It means we can design our transition. So transitions are created by dragging a line from one state to another. It is expanded when you double click them. It has various sections. So whenever we double click on that transition, it will be opened. It means the transition designer will be opened. First time when we connect, then that is called transition, and when we double click on that, then that is called transition designer, and we can design that transitions there. And we can just do that by dragging a line from one state to another. It means we can just connect from one state to another state. Here you can see this is the transition designer. When we click on any transition, then we get this type of option like the source, trigger, condition, action, and then destination, and the last one is add shared trigger transition. So here we have the source. It means from which state this transition is coming, and to which destination, to which state this after that this transition will go. So this is the flow. So this transition will show that the condition is getting from the first state, and then it will go into the second state. It means destination state. So here it indicates the state from which this transition originate. It means from which state it starts. Second is trigger. So trigger, typically the trigger is an activity that waits for some type of event to occur, but it can be any activity or no activity at all. Here in the trigger we can put the activity, or we can leave this blank also. If we don't have anything to write here, then it's okay. you can go ahead and you can put the condition here without using any activity inside this trigger area. A transitions trigger is scheduled when the transition source state is entry action is completed. So this trigger, you will be thinking that when this trigger area will be executed. So here showing that a transition trigger is scheduled when the transition source state entry action is complete. So whenever the source, it means here you can see the state is, it means whenever the action the entry action part of this state has been completed, then after that this trigger will be executed, right? And then it will go to the transition part, it means this condition section. Condition, this section is used to apply the condition. As I already told you that transition is used to apply the condition. This is just condition. Once the triggered activity complete, so whenever this trigger part is executed, after that this condition will be executed. So once the trigger activity completes, the condition is evaluated. If there is no trigger activity, then the condition is immediately evaluated. It means if there is no activity inside this trigger section, then directly it will execute the condition part. So as you know that this is blank, if the trigger section will be blank, then condition will be executed, and if there will be activity, then this will complete this first step, and then it will start the condition section. Next will be the action part. This action area, it specifies the activity that is executed when the trigger activity completes and the condition evaluates to true. So here you can see the when the condition evaluates to true. So when the trigger activity completed, then this activity, when the trigger activity will completed and this condition is executed, and if it is true, then this action part will be executed. Same as like if 2 minus 2 equal to 0, so this is true. So if it is true, then it will go to the action side, it means this action area, and if it is not, then again it will go to the trigger area of the source state. So here you can see if condition evaluates to true, then this action will be executed, otherwise directly it will exit from there. The next one is destination. Destination, it indicates the state that the state machine transitions to after the transition complete. It means here showing after the completion of this state, it shows that after the transition completes, it will go to the this destination, right? So source is this, after completion of this source, it will go to the destination side. Like same as we have 1, 2, 3 state, then we have linked our first state to the second state, or we have linked our first state to the final state. Then based on the transition, based on the condition, it will go to the destination. If that transition linked to the final state, it means the exit area, then directly it will exit from there, and if that is true, then that will go to the another state, that is like second state. So based on the destination, so here you can see all this destination, source, condition, action, all will be there here. So I will show you one by one here practically. Now the shared transition, shared trigger transition, the last one you will see here. The shared trigger transition are the set of transition which share the same trigger event. So this is the trigger event. Whenever you are using this the first activity, first state activity, then whatever trigger will be there, that will be shared. So the new transition will share the same trigger as the initial transition, but it will have a unique condition. So every transition will have the unique condition. We cannot use the same condition in more than one transition. Shared transition can also be created from within the transition designer by clicking add shared trigger transition at the bottom of the transition designer, and then selecting the desired target state from the available state to connect drop down. So here you will get the option here at the last. We have the add shared trigger transition option. Whenever we'll click on that, so we will get the option to connect through the transition. Now the last one is final state. Final state represents a terminating state in the state machine is called a final state, right? So whenever we are going to complete that or exit from that state, that is called final state. It means that is the last step of the state machine. It ends the state machine cycle, right? So whenever we have the option is final state at last, and whenever that final state is executed, it means you can understand the state machine cycle is end. It represents the point at which the workflow is complete. So that is the at any location, if the final state is there, it means at that point that state machine workflow will be completed and that will be closed. So this activity has only an entry area which holds the activity that are to be performed when the state is entered. It means you can say that this final state has only one entry area, and in that area we can write our activity to close the workflow, to close the applications. You can say to kill the processes. So everything you can use here as per your requirement. So it has no exit section. Here you can see we have used the start node. From it will start from there, then go to the state, and based on condition it will go to the state, and then after that final state. So whenever it is going to the final state, it means this is the last point of the workflow. So first we'll start with a simple one, simple state machine with a single transition. We cannot add this state machine here. It means inside the workflow we cannot use another workflow like same state machine workflow. If we have already used this one, then we cannot drag and drop this. First thing. Second, we cannot add this final state as an initial state. Let me try to connect here. You are getting here, we are not getting an option to connect here. If you are going to see here, right click, and we are not getting option to set as initial state. So this final state always will be in the end, at the end. So always only a state activity will be the initial state. So we can write here, and then we can use the final state also directly, and we can connect here. So first, whenever we will connect this, it means this is our transition. Whenever we'll connect from one state to another state, it means one state to any state like state final state or any state, then this node will be the transition, or that is called condition. So here you can see in the display name this is T1, it means this is the transition 1, and here you are getting option to write the condition, like on what condition this will go to the final state, or on what condition this will again go to the state itself. So here you can see here, if you are not connecting this, then we are getting error, and it is showing state must have at least one transition. Here we can use one state also to connect. So now you can see here we have connected. Now we have a state transition 1, and we have connected, and we have marked this as a initial state, and this is our next state. So here now you can see here again, here we are getting that state machine, this state must have at least one transition. So why? If we have used already one transition, then why it is asking for the again another transition? Because we are not going to use final state. It means this is not our end. So if we need to use our final state, then we have to connect this state machine, this state activity to the final state. Then we have to use one transition. We must have to use one transition. Otherwise we cannot connect this state to final state. Then we should have this transition added here. So that's why we will just take one final state here and we'll drag and drop here, and then this validation message has been cleared. It means we will not getting any warning message here. Again, the next thing, if you are going to again try adding one more state activity, then again it will ask you to add one transition, because every state activity will must have one transition. So you have to take care of this always. You will have to use this one transition. It means, or every state machine at least have one final state. It means you cannot complete our, you cannot make a logic of your state machine without the help of final state. It means if we have started our steps from here, if we have started our state machine workflow, then it must have one exit section. It means it must have a final. If a start, then we should have the close things. Then this is our the final, and then here it is done. Now our workflow is done. So first the example was the state machine. Here the example is simple state machine with single transition. So I'm going to show you here. So let me first close all these things. So we need to take at least one transition. So we'll directly take one state, final state activity, and we'll drag and drop. So one state activity with one transition and with one final state. So this is our very simple example, so that you can understand how to use this state machine activity, same as another workflow like sequence and flowchart. So you know that you have learned about the flowchart. The same as this is also same as that, but here we are getting a different type, like event driven manner. In flowchart workflow, we are getting option like start, and then we connect one activity to the start, and then again we take another activity, and then we connect like that. But here in this state machine workflow, we are just getting one starting node to connect here, but after that, whenever we'll drag our line to connect from one state to another state, then that node is called transition, and that should have the condition. First time, this is our initial state. We can change the name initial. So this is like we can use our activities, any activities inside this one, to initialize the value. So if you have used in flowchart to initialize the value, like pass the sheet name to one variable, pass the path, folder path to one variable, pass the file name to one variable, pass the string to one variable. So like if you are initializing any value, then you can use here in the initial state. Or if you are working on any simple project, taking the data from the user and showing in message box. So here in the initial state, in the entry section, we'll take one activity, so that first time this section will be executed. So we are going to take one message box, so that will show that this entry section has been executed, so that you can understand when this section is executing and when exit section is executing. So here I am writing entry section has been executed, right? And now I am going to put the same thing here in the message in the exit section, and here I will take here, that is exit section has been executed now. So we are going to take example of taking the name from the user and then show in message box. So now here we have the transition, that is condition. In the trigger section, I am going to take input dialog box. I will tell you later why I am going to use input dialog box here in the transition, why I have not used in this initial state. So I am going to take this here input dialog box. Here I will write enter name, and then here I write please enter your name, and then I will take one variable, and that is name. And here in the condition I will write if name not equal to Manish Pandey, if name not equal to Manish Pandey, then what will happen? Then it will go to this section. And if, let me try with the equal to, if name equal to Manish Pandey, then we'll take one message box here, and we'll show in the condition in the action section that if user had passed Manish Pandey, and here it will check if name equal to Manish Pandey, it means user has passed Manish Pandey, and here also we are going to check the condition if Manish Pandey equal to Manish Pandey. Yes, if it is true, then this section will be action will be executed. So here it will write hello Manish Pandey, and if it is false, then what will happen? Then the trigger will be executed. It means this this transition trigger will be executed. As I already told in the theory that if this is true, then action will be executed. If this is not true, then the transition trigger will be executed. So I'm going to show you here. So first I'm going to change the name of this transition. You can change from here, and you can directly put the condition here. If you don't want to use any activity inside the transition, then you can directly put the condition here, and you can change the transition display name. So here I'm going to put here true. If it is true, then in the final state we will write one message box that all states have been executed. So here in the entries final state, we can write here for the kill process, we can write here close application, all this type of message box or anything we can write here. Let me run this. So what will happen if we will run this here project, and then it will ask for the name. First it will show the message box, this entry section has been executed, then it will check for the condition. So let me show you here. So here showing entry section has been executed. It means, as I already told you, entry means whenever the workflow will be started, so first it will enter into the entry section of the first state. It means initial states. So whatever activity will be there inside that initial state entry section, that will be executed. Right now here it will not go to the exit section of the initial state. It will first go to the transition section, and first it will run the trigger. It will ask for the here is asking for the name. I am passing here Manish Pandey, the exact thing whatever the condition is there. So what will happen if I will press enter, then it will check the condition. If Manish Pandey equal to Manish Pandey, then it will go to the action part. It means it will show the message like hello Manish Pandey. So now what happened, it is showing the exit section. It means initial part has been closed, right? It is going to the exit section. It means the condition is true, that's why first it is closing the initial state like first one, because now after that the destination will be the final state. That's why first it is closing the source one, closing all this activity of the source, and then it will show hello Manish Pandey, and then it will go to the final state, and then here you can see the all states have executed. It means that's the part of final state, and then workflow will be completed. So this is the steps of the state machine. First it will run this one of the any state entry section, and then it will go to the transition, whatever transition will be there, then it will run this trigger part, right? And then it will check for the condition. If condition is true, then it will go to the initial state and it will run this one, and then it will close the part of initial state. It means now there is no use of initial state, it has completed the exit section. After that it will go to the action part. It means it is true, then it will go to the action part, it will show hello Manish Pandey, and then after that here you can see in the transition, if it is true, then destination will be final state. So let me show you here. So if it is true, then it will go to the destination is final state. And what is the final state? we have taken an activity to show the message like all states have executed, right? So by this way the state machine works. And why I have taken the input dialog box here in the transition, I can take in the initial states also, but why I have taken here in the transition, I am going to tell you now. Here what will happen if user is not passing Manish Pandey, then again it will ask for the to pass the name. It means it will say that that is wrong, and then again it will execute it until condition is true. Let me run this. So first it has executed the entry section, and then here I am not passing the same name, I am just passing here Manish, not Pandey. So what will happen this time, condition will be false. Got it? So condition will be false. That's why first again it's going to the trigger part of the transition, then again it will, if I am putting something different, again condition will be false, then again that section will be executed. And if I will write here the same, it means condition will be true, then it will go to the initial states exit section, and then that will be executed. It means exit section has been executed, that has been closed now, and then it will show the action part, message box, and then closed. Next thing, so I think now you have learned the use of state machine, the simple one. Here you can see it is showing two like icon like this. This is for entry section, this is for exit section. Here showing in the initial states we have taken two things. In entry section we have used message box, and in the exit section we have taken message box. If you will open here, so you will see here in entry section we have the message box, and exit we have the message box. The same thing it is showing here also, and in the final state we have taken message box. Here showing entry message box, right? Now the next thing, that is a state machine with multiple transition. So let me take more than one transition. So first here we have taken for the true, and if it is false then we'll take another transition for the false statement. So what I am going to do, I am going to take this input dialog box inside the initial state, and I am going to put here, and now I am going to write here enter name, please enter name, and we'll take the variable is name. And then here if it is true then it will go to the exit section like the final state, and in the true we'll write name equal to Manish Pandey, then it will go to the, it will show the message box, and then it will go to the destination will be final state. And based on the second example we need to take another transition. So I am going to take the another transition from the same initial state. So we'll take one, and then I am going to connect with the self like the same initial states. And now I am going to take this as a, if it is false, false. So here I am going to write this right here, that if name not equal to Manish Pandey. So now you can think here, previously what was there, like in the true section here in the transition we have written the trigger. So that time if condition was true then it was going to the action part and then final state like the destination. And now we have taken this one in the initial section here, and then I have taken one transition connected with the itself here. So if the condition equal to true then it will go to the true part like final state, and if it is false then again it will go to the initial states, and again it will run this the both things like message box and input dialog box. So you can connect like this also. Let me run this and I can show you. So first time entry section has been executed, and then it will ask for the name because we have taken input dialog box in the initial states. Now I am writing this full name Manish Pandey, and now I am going to run this. So what will happen, it will check for the condition. If it is true, then it will go to the final state. It means everything is going good. So okay, exit section has been executed, and then it, hello Manish Pandey, and then it will go to the final state, that is all states have been executed, and now done. Now I am going to again run this, and here I will pass the false name. Just I am going to pass here Manish. Then exit section has been executed, right? Then what will happen, the condition has been checked. It means Manish not equal to Manish Pandey, right? So it means that was false. So it will go to the initial state again. So what will happen, again it will execute the message box of the entry section, and then it will execute the input dialog box from the initial states. Now you can see here again it's asking for the name. Now I am going to pass here the second name, another name. Again what will happen, if it is false, then again it will go to the initial states. Now I am passing again the true section, then it will show my name and then completed. So by this way we can connect the transition with the itself, like the self state. So this is called self transition, and we have taken two transition here. Now you have seen the example of simple state machines with the multiple transitions. Now I am going to show you the another example, that is example of more than one state activity. So here currently we have taken only one initial states. Now I am going to take another activity, another state activity. So I am going to connect one more with state. I am going to drag and drop this, and I will connect directly with this one. So if I will drag and drop this, it will be automatically added with here. So now you can see here so again it will ask for the name, entry section, it will ask for the name. If it is true, then it will go to this state. If it is false, then again it will ask for the name. So now you can take multiple state here, you can connect. So here I am going to write here, this is for the second state. So again I am going to take one message box, and this section will be executed. State 2 entry section. So I am just showing you here only the basic example, simple example, so that you can understand how to use state machine. Let me run this. So what will happen, if you run this, then first this initial states, it means this entry section will be executed. It will show the message box, and then it will ask for the name. Then we'll enter the name. If it is true, then it will go to the state, and then it will go to the final state. If it is false, then again it will ask for the name. It means it will show the input dialog box. Here we can connect, or we cannot connect also. If we will not connect, then also the destination is showing here final state. So no issue, we can just run this, and this time I am going to pass here the name Manish Pandey, so that we can see the second state has been is going to execute or not. So you can see here, first time the it has checked the condition and it is true, that's why initial state exit section has been executed. Then it will go to the action section of transition. It will show that hello Manish Pandey, because that is the action. If condition is true, then what will be the action? Okay, then it is going to the state 2 entry section executed. Here I think we have missed to write 2 because my number lock was off. Now okay, then it's showing all states have been executed and then done. I am going to show you here. Here you can see I missed to write here 2. Right, now run this again. I am going to show you, no issue. Enter section, asking for the name Manish Pandey. Exit section, hello Manish Pandey, and then state 2 entry section has been executed, and then this is the activity inside the entry section of final state, and then done. If again we are not passing the correct name, then what will happen? Exit section has been executed, and then again it will execute the same thing from the initial states. Let me now complete this. Because you have seen here I have connected. If it is false, then again it will ask for the name. This is same as flowchart. You have seen in the flowchart that we have we connect. If we need to loop through the activity, if it is false, then we can connect again with the first, then again after the executing this part, it will go to that section. So this is the same as the flowchart. Right, now the another example is state with 2 final state activity. It means we can use 2 final state activity in the state machine. So here I am going to take one final state so that I can show you how to use 2 final state inside the. So as I already told you that the project, this state machine should have at least 1 final state. So now I am going to take this here, and I am going to now connect this here. It means if this is false, it means if you are passing incorrect name, then it will exit from the loop, and then it will go to the final state, and then it will show in the message box, and will show that you have entered wrong name. So if you are passing wrong name, then it will go to the final state, and if you are passing the correct name, then it will go to the first, it will execute all this section, and then it will go to the final state. Let's run this. So first we need to check the both final states. So first I will pass the wrong name. So I will pass here just Manish. Okay, so here it's showing exit section has been executed. Now you have entered wrong name. So this final state has been executed. Now if we will pass the valid name, then it will go to the first final state activity. Right, it means if it is true, then it will go to by this way, by this route. You can say that this is the route, or this is the step. This initial states, it will follow this step. If it is true, then it will go to this. If it is, then after that it will go to this one, and if it is false, then it will go to the final state. Right, so by this way we can write the logic, we can think about that, and then we can use this state machine. In the next video I will tell you about the guessing number game using a state machine, like how to do that in the state machine, and then second one will be a state machine in RE framework. So I will show you, I will explain all these things about the state machine in RE framework. I am not going to tell you the complete flow of the RE framework. I will just tell you about the state machine inside the RE framework. So thank you so much, friends. Thank you for watching my video. If you liked my video, please like this, please press the like button, and if you have not subscribed my channel, then please subscribe. If you have any question, please comment in my video, or you can send me on mail. Thank you so much.